Thank you, Lucas. Just following on to his remarks, while we didn't have the scholarship winners with us here, each one is featured in today's Regional Horizons that's on your seat. And I think this is really demonstrative of the great work the aviation students put in and the support that the AMC has given. I wanted to give a special shout out to all of the people who donated items for our silent auction, and please let's get those, go right from here over there and start bidding, but to Lasership for their gracious offer to, when that item you bid and you win that item, they're going to ship that item to your destination free. So let's give a big hand to Lasership for that. I'd like to double down a little bit on the thanks that both Jim and Lucas have expressed. And since this is my 5th RAA convention, pardon me if I repeat myself for the 5th time, that being part of this week's convention is the best part of the best job in Washington, D.C. The other 51 weeks and this week, the other real best part of it is having the ability to work with all of you, with our board, but especially our team in Washington. And I wanted to thank them each individually for all the work they do on your behalf. And that's Scott Foose and Faye Malarkey Black and Liam Connolly, Stacy Morgan, Connie Arnold, and Allison Gross, which are our core team, to Kelly Murphy and the Emerald Media partnership that we have and her folks, and our very successful and professional convention team headed by John Rubsamen, Diana Lundy, Susan Young, David Perez Hernandez, Brittany Johnson, and Jennifer Montague. So they're the people that really put this convention on and do all of the work for RAA. As it says in the first Regional Horizons that you got on Tuesday, we've arrived. And yesterday's personal visit by DOT Secretary LaHood, the first time a U.S. sitting cabinet member has ever visited with us at RAA, put a great big exclamation point on that. The fact that through RAA, a strong RAA, united front, you, our airlines, our suppliers, as in the Secretary's own word, have a seat at the table in shaping every decision impacting commercial aviation. It pretty much mirrors what last year in Milwaukee, NTSB Chairwoman Deborah Hersman said, that we're the major leagues. And like every major leaguer, it's probably good to kind of reflect back on how we got to the show and where we are today before the next panel that'll be up here looks at where we're going to be tomorrow. We've come a hell of a long way. This was the RAA back in 1980 when it was called the Commuter Airline Association of America, CAA. This is the annual report from that year. More than 200 commuter carriers, and some of the names are still out there, but this is a great piece of nostalgia. Just 1 year after this, the members overwhelmingly voted, though, to change the organization's name to the Regional Airline Association because, quote, a clear public perception of airlines being either national, long haul, or regional, short haul, is important for the future development of the industry, unquote. And please keep this quote in mind as we go through some of the next few slides. By the way, another thing that makes this convention so special is that many of you who really helped to build this industry have been with us and are attending here today. And I want to thank each of you for that longtime support over 30 years. Today, RAA has 30 airline members, not 200. But look how much those 30 airline members do compared to back in the day. Regionals provide the only scheduled service to 3/4 of the communities in this country. We fly more than half the nation's scheduled flights and serve 164 million passengers last year. That's about 1 out of every 4. And most importantly, we have 52,000 highly skilled aviation professionals that make this their career. Here's a look at those airports that are served exclusively by regionals. And when you include Alaska and Hawaii, it's about 500, a little bit north of 500 cities. Looking at this from the flip side, without our member airline service, one quarter of the United States would have no scheduled service whatsoever. But just to remind everybody, regionals just don't serve small communities. Here's a snapshot of the 10 busiest airports in the country and the percent of the service that's regional. And I'd point out Chicago O'Hare, Crossroads of America, 61%, Detroit, 64%, Minneapolis, where we'll be holding our convention next year, over half. Houston, one of the largest cities in the world, over half again. It's pretty significant. But let's look back to 1980 and look at the incredible growth that we've had in lift, in the number of passengers, in the average size and seating capacity of our aircraft. And remember that 1980 quote about the distances leading to the name change from commuters to regionals, our average trip length. Those gone up pretty significantly. I actually began my airline life with a major carrier, now defunct, and well before 1980. But this next slide really blows me away. This is our growth. Here, look how much faster in each of these categories the regional industry has grown than our mainline partners. That's pretty significant. And who'd have thought back in 1980 that U.S. regionals, those airlines that built the CAA, would today be global airlines? We serve right now more than 15 cities served in Canada, about 40 across Latin America and the Caribbean, and as of these international destinations continue to increase. Our major airframe manufacturers span across 4 continents, and there are attendees at this convention from every continent except for Antarctica. Our next panel will get into it at depth, but as for going global, those maps really don't illustrate our members' greatest contribution to global aviation. Our partnerships, the sharing of our best practices, the financial, intellectual, and human capital with airlines across the globe. These investments go from South America to Vietnam and everywhere in between. But putting it back into major league terms, the real heart of our lineup are the partnerships we've forged here in the United States with other U.S. airlines over decades to provide passengers from Albany to Albuquerque, from Santa Barbara to Springfield, and from Laramie to Long Island with seamless service. Seamless service not just here in the U.S. or across North America, but anywhere one stop in the world. Because of regional airlines, a passenger with one click of a mouse, one website, buys one ticket, checks their bags once, and could travel seamlessly from Bakersfield to Buenos Aires, from Montgomery, Alabama to Prague, and from the home of Air Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin, to Beijing. And on an increasingly number of flights, they can do it in premium or first class for the entire trip. Oh, and collect major airline frequent flyer mileage to boot. Let's compare the experience today of the passengers compared to what was back in 1980, back in the day.